But you're right, Porter does help me a lot. First, I thought it was nice that he picked me to be on his TV show. What he said was good. The music world is shocked that Dolly Parton has finally opened up about her personal problems. Every time she sings or acts, Dolly makes people smile with her beautiful voice and wonderful attitude. There was love between us back then, and it's been going on for 30 years. Porter, though, you know what the words to that song really mean. Many people didn't know this about Dolly, though she's not all fame and lights. Although she is admired for being friendly, this famous woman harbors anger toward another famous woman. This is rare because Dolly is known for having good working relationships with other musicians. What could have gone wrong between these two famous people? Did Dolly finally deal with these problems? Come with us as we share the facts. At age 78, Dolly Parton finally says it. Everything you've given me and everything I owe you, I'll always love you, Porter, as the song says. A fight kept secret. Many people love Dolly Parton's beautiful singing and catchy songs. She is known as the queen of country music, but people liked her for more than that. Her calm nature and unique way of being made her stand out. But as she thinks back on her amazing career, she has finally told a shocking truth: she was angry and frustrated along the way. Some artists didn't always get along with Dolly, as well as she seemed to. She is known for her friendly smile and charm. It has been said that her work with other artists in the business was not always fun. It was sometimes stressful and painful for her. The new information shows the secret stresses that come with working with smart people. No one knows this, but Dolly has been dealing with these stresses for years. She kept a smile on her face even though she was going through some of the worst problems at work ever. After hiding some of her problems for years while smiling in pain, she has finally talked about them and named some musicians who annoyed her. Dolly recently talked about her time in the studio and how hard it was to work with one famous person who moved too slowly for her taste. This difference caused a lot of stress, and even though she is happy and upbeat, it made her feel heavy on the inside. Dolly told the truth when she talked about how these problems were affecting her health, which showed a side of her that fans don't usually see. As Dolly Parton goes through this part of her life, let's take a moment to look back at what her life was like before she became famous. How was she different from other artists that made her the person the world knew? What events in her past shaped her? The life of Dolly before she became famous. She was born on January 19, 1946, in a small cabin with only one room in Sevier County, Tennessee. The house was next to the Little Pigeon River in the Great Smoky Mountains. Her family had a lot of problems because she was the fourth of 12 children. Robert Lee Parton was her father and worked hard as a farmer and building worker. Avie Lee was her mother and took care of the kids, and played music in their house. The Parton family didn't have power or indoor plumbing when they were born because they came from a poor family. They lived off of the crops and money they could grow. But music was always a part of their lives, even though they were having a hard time. Avie Lee could really sing well, and she loved singing old songs and church hymns with her kids. Dolly's love and ability for music began when she was young and heard music. By the time she was 6, she was singing in church, which made everyone pay attention. When she was only 8 years old, her uncle Bill Owens saw how good she could be and gave her a real guitar. This event changed everything for Dolly. She began writing her own songs and hoped to become a musician. She got a lot of inspiration for her songs from growing up in the Appalachians, putting together her own voice with the stories and tales she learned as a child. Dolly's songs were mostly about her experiences with being poor. In hits like Coat of Many Colors and In the Good Old Days, when times were bad, she sang about her childhood with love and family as the most important things in her life. Instead of giving up when they were having money problems, Dolly's spirit rose, making her want to succeed and help her family. It was 1964 when Dolly graduated from high school. She took a chance and moved to Nashville to follow her dreams. Before she became famous herself, she first became famous as a songwriter who wrote hits for other acts. Dolly quickly became a country music star because her voice could fit into many styles. Charming people with her honest stories and powerful acts, her rise from a small cabin to fame as a beloved music icon is a story of ability, determination, and the power of her roots. A lot of people are inspired by her story, which shows that coming from nothing can lead to amazing success. People are still amazed by her amazing success story. For example, how did a girl with only a dream and a strong voice win over millions of people, from a simple beginning to dreams in Nashville? Dolly Parton began making songs when she was very young. Her first radio and TV shows in East Tennessee were in 1955. The Cass Walker Show was her first appearance. These early shows were very helpful for her because they gave her confidence and taught her how to act on stage. Additionally, they let her work on her singing skills, which set the stage for her future success. When she was a teen, Dolly was already well known in the music scene in her hometown. Dolly made a big choice when she moved to Nashville to follow her country singing dreams. Like many new singers, she had a hard time at first finding her place in the music business, which is very competitive. But it didn't take long for Combine Publishing to notice how good she was at writing songs. Dolly joined Monument Records in 1965. The record company tried to turn her into a pop singer at first, but her first songs didn't do very well. In the end, they saw that her real talent lay in country music. The Billboard Country Music Chart put her first country single, Dumb Blonde, at number 24. It came out in 1966. This was a big moment for her job, because it showed how independent she was and brought country music fans together. But how did she make a living with her natural talent? The partnership that changed the game. When Dolly joined the Porter Wagoner Show in 1967, it was a big moment in her career. A famous country singer named Porter Wagoner saw how good Dolly could be and asked her to join his TV show. This partnership helped Dolly reach a bigger audience. Under Wagoner's guidance, Dolly signed with RCA Victor, and Wagoner promised to help produce her records. That was the last thing on my mind. It came out in October 1967 and quickly became a top 10 country hit. Their friendship grew stronger after this success, and in 1968, they released their first record together, Just Between You and Me. It was a big hit. It got to number 8 on the Billboard Country Albums list. Dolly and Wagoner's shows were exciting because they got along so well. This made Dolly even more famous as a rising star in country music. Dolly was also working hard on her solo business, even though her work with Wagoner was going well. Dolly's first record by herself, Just Because I'm a Woman, came out with RCA in 1968. It didn't do as well as her duets with Wagoner, but it was a big step forward for her. Dolly was brave to talk about important topics in her music, as shown by the title song, Just Because I'm a Woman, which was about how women are treated unfairly. The song went on to be a #1 hit in the country charts. When Whitney Houston sang it in 1992, it became famous all over the world. By the middle of the 1970s, Dolly was a well-known country music star, but she wasn't happy with that. To reach more people, she started to try out new types of songs in 1976. She switched from country music to pop music at this point in her career, which was a risky move. Her 1977 album, Here You Come Again, showed a big change. It was a big hit. It got to number 3 on the pop charts and number 1 on the country record charts. This success showed that Dolly could connect with more people. What did Dolly do when she stopped making music and did something bigger? Getting into Hollywood and other places. Dolly not only became more famous on TV, but she was also a great singer with unmatched skill. She went on a lot of talk in variety shows, and her fun and charm won people over. She had her own TV show called Dolly for a year in 1976. The show let her show off skills besides singing, which made her even more well-known. The Country Music Association named Dolly Entertainer of the Year in 1978. This is one of the top awards in country music. This award showed how important she is becoming in both country and pop music. Dolly took another big step when she started acting at the start of the 1980s. In 1980, she had her first movie part in the comedy 9 to 5 Inches, which also starred Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin. A lot of people really liked the movie, and Dolly's acting got a lot of praise. After 9 to 5 was a hit, Dolly kept playing in movies. It was in 1982 that she played the lead role in The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, another musical comedy that showed off her singing and playing skills. Dolly had another hit with the song Hard Candy Christmas, which was in the movie. These movies showed how good she was at both singing and playing. Dolly was a big hit in movies, TV shows, and songs. But who did Dolly Parton finally say she didn't like? The Terrible Trio. Around the middle of the 1970s, Dolly Parton, Linda Ronstadt, and Emmylou Harris talked about making their first album together. These smart and skilled women were already well known in the music business. Linda was known for being able to sing in a lot of different styles, Dolly for her country songs, and Emmylou for combining standard country with more modern touches. Don Roth, her guitarist, told her that Dolly wasn't feeling comfortable because she was cocky, but because she was afraid of not fitting in, which made the gap between them bigger. Trio was a hit, but Dolly was getting more and more angry. But how did she deal with the fact that they were not all creative? The bad side of being in a partnership. There was a clear break in the group's plans as they talked about their second record. They couldn't work together as well as they used to because of bad scheduling, egos that clashed, and different goals. Emmylou Harris stayed calm and steady, but Dolly Parton and Linda Ronstadt's friendship was so tense that it could not be fixed. A partnership that looked like it would work out well turned into a source of stress and sorrow. It took a long time, but in 1999, their second record, Trio I, finally came out. The music business had changed by then, and even though the record did well, Dolly was physically and emotionally worn out from the process. It was hard for her to balance her solo job with the needs of the trio. Dolly has talked about how the event took a toll on her. Initially, she felt very angry not only at Ronstadt but also at everything that was going on. It wasn't just the music, it was about being stuck on a job that wasn't any longer fun for her. Dolly learned that not every relationship is meant to last, no matter how hard you try. This time was a turning point for her. Dolly really thinks she was being pushed to the side in this famous project. A strict stickler and a free spirit, it became personal when Dolly Parton and Linda Ronstadt's different ways of making music became clear. Linda's need for perfection made Dolly believe that her own thoughts and feelings didn't matter. She began to question whether or not her work was really appreciated, or if she was just a part of a project that didn't need her help. Since Linda was so set on making everything perfect, Dolly pulled away to protect her talent. What Dolly thought was that she wasn't being used, Linda was trying to make her feel like she was a part of the whole project. To her, the project was just right, and she believed that pushing for perfection was the best way to honor the work they had done together. But Dolly felt too much pressure to live up to Linda's high standards. They admired each other's skills, but their attitudes didn't get along. Dolly didn't like Linda's slow, detail-oriented way of recording. She liked a faster, more natural style. The argument got worse when Linda and Emmylou suggested recording some songs without Dolly and only having her on a few of them. Dolly felt lied to. She joined the group because she thought it was a relationship where everyone would have an equal role. Dolly thought that all three of them should be present at the same time, while Linda and Emmylou saw the project as a fluid, changing team effort. She thought the idea that she should take a break from some songs was an insult to her as an artist and group founder. She thought someone was ignoring her. This argument was a big deal. Dolly felt like the project wasn't giving her anything anymore, so she started to mentally pull away. Their different styles of writing almost caused them to break up, but they worked through it and made a hard-fought victory. An album that will go down in history. Trio 2 was finally released in 1999 after a lot of stress and delays. The record did well, got nominated for a Grammy, and showed fans how great it is when these three women sing together again. But for Dolly, the success didn't feel like much. She wasn't able to enjoy her win because the recording process had been so hard on her. Dolly was honest about how hard it had been after the record came out. She agreed that Trio I was a lot harder to finish than their first record. She was proud of the music, but she was tired of always having to fight. She said each note made her feel like she had to fight for it. She wasn't sure if Dolly would ever want to go through something like that again by the end. Dolly felt bad too. Some of the delays and problems she talked about in her book were caused by her stubbornness. She said that she was the main reason why that record wasn't finished, but she felt bad that what she did made things harder for everyone. Dolly is wary of working with other people in the future because of what happened. She chose to work on her own projects because she had complete power over the ideas. Dolly didn't let the project define who she was, even though it was hard on her. To get stronger and smarter, she used what she had learned to move on. Even though the record did well, Dolly's apology to Linda and Emmylou made things better. But could she let go of her anger and the guilt that she felt? Dolly finally told Linda and Emmylou she was sorry. She said she was sorry for how things had gone and that she hadn't been easy to work with. Linda took a while to react, but she did accept Dolly's apology. Furthermore, Emmylou the peacemaker also let Dolly off the hook, which made Dolly feel better. She was finally able to let go of her guilt and not feel bad about the work they did together. Dolly Parton's apology helped things get over, but the time she spent with the three changed her greatly. She had to go through hard times to learn how to compromise and put her pride aside for the sake of creation. In spite of this, Dolly didn't let it stop her. What she learned helped her start her own business. She worked on things she was in charge of completely, like Dollywood, her amusement park, and gave more of their time to charity. It was important to her to work on things that made her happy, away from the problems she had in the trio. While thinking back on those hard years, Dolly said they changed her in ways she didn't expect. She said it taught her what she could and couldn't give up for her art, and how important it is to stay true to herself. Working together with the other two was hard, but it made Dolly face her own fears and grow stronger.